Dogs and cats are awesome. Whether you're a dog person, cat person, or neither, you probably care about their general well-being, at least to some extent, driven by common sense. Throughout history, us humans have domesticated these animals to aid us in several manners, as well as to be our companions. Today, there is an overwhelming amount of dogs sitting in shelters that are worthy companions but will never be given the chance to prove it. This is partially due to the overpopulation within these shelters, a problem that is ultimately our responsibility to fix. While I'm not actively advocating for these dogs in my everyday life, I hold a high amount of respect for all animals in general, and I'm quite confident in saying that others around me probably feel quite similarly. I believe that if people were to primarily adopt from dog shelters to an extreme extent, it would be the most effective method to minimize some of the negative effects of overpopulation. While I myself have my favorite breed of dogs that I absolutely adore, blue heelers, I still believe in adoption and rescuing compared to purchasing from breeders. In animal shelters, there are issues such as the euthanasia of millions of dogs, as well as the shelter staff experiencing stress from having to kill these dogs. One of the main reasons for these issues and many others is the overpopulation that exists in animal shelters today, as well as in many streets. I believe that the most simple solution for the overpopulation is for way more people to adopt from shelters as opposed to purchasing from breeders. Overpopulation of dogs, as well as other domesticated animals, has caused problems that affect the animals themselves, people around the animals, and in some cases entire counties or countries as a whole. In 2013, the Humane Society estimated that between 3 million and 4 million cats and dogs are euthanized in America every year, and I wouldn't be surprised if those numbers were just about the same today, if not higher. The staff members that participate in putting down the overpopulated animals are put under high amounts of stress, especially when they have to put down a completely healthy animal simply because there's too many of them. In his book, Just a Dog, Understanding Cruelty in Ourselves, Arnold Arluke makes a good point by mentioning that the staff members of these shelters got into their field due to their love for animals, and that killing these animals is contrary to their beliefs, yet they must do it as part of their daily job. Aside from the humane factors, there are also financial factors. Many local municipal governments have to take animal control into account every year. It's an expense that is far more significant for some areas compared to others. It really depends on their specific circumstances. Some countries are even notorious for high amounts of overpopulation in their streets, like my own Costa Rica. Avoiding these negative effects of overpopulation is complicated to achieve due to some of the barriers in the way of a solution. Just how the human population will continue to grow over time, so will that of the overpopulated cats and dogs, unless something significant is done. Many things have already been done regarding the overpopulation, but one of the main barriers that prevents solving it, as Paul Solotoroff of Rolling Stone mentions, is that the internet has been a great disruptor. The 2 millions of pups bred in mills are sold in stores these days, and the rest are trafficked online. While many laws have been put in place to avoid irresponsible and excessive breeding, there will always be a black market, as well as other barriers that prevent solving the issue of overpopulation. One of the barriers of solving overpopulation is that even though no-kill shelters are a great idea, they still hold a sad reality. Many animals will simply sit there for a very long time before they get adopted, if ever at all, especially the older ones. Another barrier, one that negatively affects the adoptions themselves, is that shelter dogs may lose the habit of using human movements as indications of how to behave due to the fact that they are not regularly trained. This could be one of the reasons as to why many animals do not get adopted, or do not last when they get adopted. As Joshua Frank states in his book, Human Ecology, it is human actions and inaction that perpetuate dog overpopulation and create the need for the human-made solution of euthanasia. Euthanasia isn't the answer. The only reasonable solution would be to focus on improving adoption rates from shelters, as well as the success of the adoptions themselves. Purchasing dogs from breeders does not help the overpopulation that countless shelters experience today. I would urge my classmates and really anyone else to shop around and look for a very long time if you're trying to look for a specific breed. If you can't find that specific breed, just simply compromise. It's up to us humans to act on solving the issue of overpopulation in shelters. We put these animals in that position over centuries of domestication, and it's really up to us to house them. Humans act as a secure base for dogs. We are their most important asset regarding their well-being. The Journal of Comparative Psychology points out that assessing the temperament of shelter dogs is crucial if we want to improve the results of adoptions. If we want them to have better chances of staying at the houses they're adopted to, we need to better understand how to make them comprehend the good intentions of the humans surrounding them. In conclusion, if we all choose to adopt from shelters as opposed to purchasing from breeders, we may be able to minimize the negative effects of overpopulation. While I would love to have a blue heeler, I know that there's millions of other dogs that are in desperate need of a home. Countless amounts of innocent animals die every year, and those who have to do the euthanization don't feel all too great about it themselves. Although it's a tricky problem with many barriers, it's up to us humans to fix it. I know much has been done already, but we need to purchase even less from breeders and way more from overpopulated shelters. Just as with any other things in life, it's up to us, the adults, who can make a difference, to actually step up and make a difference. I hope my presentation has changed your mind in the future, possibly, when it comes to adopting. Thank you.